People look at stories through different lenses. I have my own take on some of these trending issues. Hi, I'm Mariah Ramharak and welcome to In Case You Missed It. Hello, I'm Mariah Ramharak and welcome to a brand new episode of In Case You Missed It on SportsMax and CEEN TV. Well, today I'm so pleased to be joined in studio by Andrew Simpson, Jamaica Rugby League player. Andrew, so good you could make the trek to our studio. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me.
Really good that you could visit us in studio. So what have you been up to lately?
Well, lately I'm just at home with my boys.
Yeah.
And I'm just on daddy duties, ensuring that everything in the house is run accordingly. And it's good. I'm on a break for rugby right now.
Yeah. So when do you expect to get back into the sport?
I'm currently doing personal training for me because coming up, there's a nines in the US.
Yeah.
And I would like to make the trip with my club from the US. Delaware Black Flags.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm preparing for that as well. That's in February.
Yeah. You know, whenever I interview like rugby players, and as we said before we started the cameras, before it started rolling, whenever I interview athletes from non-traditional sports, I always ask them, you know, like, why rugby? Because, you know, you grew up in Jamaica, there's so many different sports. What's the story? What's your story?
Well, the story for me was growing up in high school, Norman Manley High School. That's where I started rugby from, and I started playing rugby union.
Yeah.
So I usually be in cadet. So I would not be at home when school finishes, and I will stay at school and loiter, but I would watch the guys practice rugby, football, whatever it is.
Right.
I would be there. And this particular evening, the coach came up to me and said, "Hey, I need you to join my team. I've seen you every day at practice, but why not join?" So I went home and I told my mom about it, and she said, "Okay, sure." And she got me a boot, and then that's where my journey began from.
Yeah, is it expensive to take part in the sport?
Yeah, it is, because funding mostly have to come from yourself.
Okay.
Usually, but when school, it's okay because the school program is covered by the government and the bursa and everything. But outside of school, it became difficult. And for me, it was a personal investment. I invested in something I love, and the reward was worth it.
Yeah, and you say that, and I have to ask you, you know, you say the reward was worth it, but, you know, how has it been taking on the sport professionally? Like, can you share with us a bit about your experience?
Professionally, I've not been signed to say I earned a living from it, so I would not say I'm a pro.
Okay.
Stated now, they say I'm an amateur.
Right.
But playing the sport and the experience I gather, I'm somewhat fit the shoes of a professional player, because I remember my breaking point at once when I had everything. I had facility of the gym, luxury vehicle, and I could do almost anything I want in the US. And it was something rewarding for me.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, and you know, you speak about that, and I think about the challenges, you know, the challenges that usually sets successful people apart. How difficult was it for you to bounce back from these challenges, you know, these hurdles? Because you talk about that time in the US, and I get the sense that, you know, you would have gone through a lot in the sport. Can you share?
Being adaptive is one of my mantra, and very determined. So the sport itself is difficult. If you know the sport and you get involved with it, it's difficult to survive on the field. But being in it for so many years, I adapt the playing style, and my lifestyle is actually rooted to be rugby.
Yeah.
So it was easy for me to transition my life, personal life, as well as my playing life in one. So if I'm not on the field or in practice, I will still be in practice because I have to prepare myself for the next game.
Right.
And it's never an easy task to prepare for the next 80 minutes. So it's always tough.
Yeah.
Life itself is tough.
Yeah, so I feel like, you can translate those things that you learned in sport into just real life itself.
Yeah, because at one point, well, 2020 for me was a tremendous time. For most people, it was a downhearted time because COVID struck.
Yeah.
But for me, COVID hit, and I was in a state where I had no friends, no family, no support. I had myself, but I had one vision, one aim, one purpose was to make the national team going to the World Cup. So the drive for me was to just keep going, no matter what the odds is. And I kept at it. Even when there was restriction to practice, I would be on the Palisadas, 4 in the morning, running. Till I did it for 3 weeks by myself, then my friends started joining, and then from there the crowd grew.
Yeah, wow. And
Yeah.
you've been to the Rugby League World Cup in 2022. It was set for 2021, but again, because of the
Because of
COVID-19, yeah, the pandemic, it was held in 2022. So you got that goal out of the way. Tell me, how was, that experience for you? What was the biggest takeaway when you realized that, hey, I'm actually competing at the World Cup?
The biggest takeaway was when I received a phone call. I was at work,
Yeah.
not knowing that I made the team, but that was the biggest news of my life ever. I wish my mom was here. I could share that experience with her, but she was not. So for me, it was just thrilling to accomplish something that I set out for years, not knowing it would come so soon.
Yeah, well, they always say hard work pays off, and I feel like your story is a true testament to that. I have to ask you, though, about the current Rugby League team. Can you share with us a bit about the quality of this current team?
Well, the team is mixed. We got both professional and amateurs playing on the squad. Heritage players as well as homegrown.
Yeah.
And the challenges we face as homegrown, we don't have the resources like the professional guys does.
Yeah.
And we don't have the support internally from corporate Jamaica or just wherever. But to be in practice and see the lads come out and put the all in, we do rally. Like the West Indies, we do rally.
I love that, because if you know, I love cricket. It's my favorite sport.
I grew up on cricket, so
Yeah.
everything was just part of the journey.
Yeah, and as you say that, who are some of the pro players, the senior players that, we need to watch out for?
You have the Michael Lawrence and the Ashton Golin,
Yeah.
and quite a few, like the Keenan Rush.
Yeah.
He's a youngster, and he's coming up, so there's a lot.
Yeah, and do you feel like having foreign-based players help, especially when you play in like cold conditions? Because I remember for that World Cup, we were interviewing, I believe it was either the coach or the manager and a player, and they were telling us about the cold conditions and all of that. So I think having those foreign players might help.
Well, to be honest with you, the weather doesn't bother me.
Okay.
I'm from the tropics, right? Jamaica is a warm climate, but when you go outside of Jamaica, you have to expect what is there, and that you have to greet it with open arms. I went to England, they said it was cold, but when I went there...
It was cold, trust me.
It was like fabulous. It was like the best time of my life.
It was
the
too
weather
cold
was
for
good.
me.
I took my shirt off, and then few of my own boys got upset with me, saying that I would get sick. And I'm saying, no. Why would I get sick? And this is just the time of my life I'm having. It's grand. So experience the weather, enjoy the weather, and be open for it. I played in condition that is really cold, that when I walked out the dressing room, my teeth started clinging, knocking like somebody playing the steel drums. So when I was in the World Cup, the weather was fantastic. It was great.
But that's for you, but what
Yeah.
about the players that...
No, I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for the others unless they share what's happening.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a bit now about the experience that the foreign-based players bring to the national setup. How was that for you when you were able to play alongside them?
It's good. It's good having them on the team. It's good, but for me personally, it's not always the best, because somebody think they are better than you, not necessarily mean that they are. They are. But when you're on a team, it shows cohesiveness. it not means that you're on the top should stay on top, but the person below you should bring him to your level because you and him, you share the same space as him.
Yeah, it's a team.
Right. So sometimes it's not necessarily the best energy you needed because somebody like that necessarily diverse to bring their level down to bring someone up.
The Rugby League World Cup qualifiers are getting set for next year. How are preparations coming along for those crucial matches?
It's good. Currently, we're just in the talks of what's going to happen, what's to expect, what's to come. And we're in high spirit to get the second qualification around. And definitely we want to be in Australia come 2026.
Yeah, and when you say that, I have to ask you, you've been doing your personal training, but is there any particular area that you feel like you need to work on in order to prepare for the World Cup qualifiers?
Well, personally for me, I don't have access to a gym.
Okay.
So to exploit the gym as the way I should, I don't. But for me personally, I would do my own workout, body workout, so that helped me to keep me in shape.
Good.
But like to be effective, I don't have the support of a facility that would push me or tweak me beyond my levels. So I have to work with what I have, makeshift.
Have you reached out to any, bodies, any sponsors, corporate Jamaica?
No, I have not, because I don't know the forum of how to do it.
Okay.
I try to speak to my body.
Yes, and how has that conversation been for you?
It has been one challenging. I've tried over the years when I was employed with a company. I won't say the name, but yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I tried, I asked, and refused to get support. Even when I was going to the World Cup, being an employee, they did not support me. So it was tough, very much.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. And of course, I hope that anybody that's tuned in and, can lend any sort of assistance will do so. As we continue talking about the World Cup qualifiers, you play Cook Islands, France, and South Africa. That's for a spot. Yeah, that's for a spot at the World Cup. What are your chances looking like? When I call those countries, what are you thinking?
I think we stand a pretty good chance against Cook Islands. South Africa, definitely. We stand a pretty much good chance because Rugby League is not their strong suit.
Okay.
If it was Rugby Union, then I could say the Springboks have their way, but no. But Rugby League, we do stand a good chance against South Africa. And France would be our biggest opponent coming up.
The toughest one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, we have those teams laid out for you. As you said, France will probably be the toughest opponent. So how important is it that, you work hard, Andrew, to create a legacy that will help to grow this sport in Jamaica?
Well, my legacy I already begun.
Yeah.
So it's just to continue that tradition, reach out to the youngsters to help manifest more talent, homegrown. That would be a part of my legacy.
Yeah, but I'm thinking how you said to me a short while ago, it was difficult when you turned to get sponsors and everything, right? You were a part of a forum that I hosted on the weekend that spoke about branding and all of that. And one of the points that came out of that was, sponsors tend to align themselves with winning teams. So when I asked that question, I'm asking about the fact that Rugby League starts to win or dominate to the point that sponsors are attracted to the brand. How important is it to you personally that you see that happen in your time?
Well, for me to consider to be on the World Cup team in 2021, that's a win for me.
Yeah.
So if as a company you align yourself with somebody who's winning doesn't necessarily mean that it has to come from a 90-minute game or an 80-minute game. It can be set by personal goals, by an individual. So for me, rugby was not a tradition thing for like soccer, cricket.
Yeah.
That if your chances would be high to make it to the top. For me, rugby, and as a domestic player, making it on the highest stage ever, that's a win for me. So if you align yourself with personal achievements and goals, so sometimes the companies do need to check what win mean for them. So a win not necessarily mean a 90-minute game, it can be a lifetime achievement.
Yeah. And you know, Jamaica has hosted rugby league events at home right here.
Right.
How important is it that we do more of those in order to raise awareness for the sport?
Well, for me, when we have games, I usually tell myself or anyone associated with me, I say I'm traveling to Jamaica, because playing on home soil, it's the best feeling ever. Having family, friends close to you, see you perform. It's like magical. Like the first time we played here against the US, that was like something to take away for life.
Yeah, out of this world.
When we beat US on home soil for the first, then Canada, it was good. It was good to be a part of those teams, and it was like, I don't have the words to say.
Yeah, I understand.
But it was good. It was great. It was a great experience.
I can only imagine. Talk to me about coach now. How is it working with Coach Romeo Monti? Is that how he pronounces it?
Yeah, Coach Romeo Monti has been a great guy, great person. Over the years, I remember when he called me and saying that I am one of the person that they're looking for in the squad for the World Cup. But for me to make the team, it's going to take a miracle, because I'm not in size that they're looking for, and I'm not at peak where they want me to be. So I was like, okay, you called me to tell me this, is this my breaking point, or this is my celebration? After the phone call ended, I went to the drawing board and I was like, I'm determined. I'm going to get myself there. All the requirements he asked of me, I'm going to put myself in the best spot ever.
Yeah.
But the relationship between me and Monty grew. We converse even when we're not next to each other.
Good.
We converse.
That's
we keep
good.
a close relationship. In my traveling, playing for the U.S. domestic teams, he always keep a close eye on me.
Good.
Always checking in what's happening, how you feel, how was the game, and all that stuff. So it was good.
No, good
We
to
have a
hear.
good relationship.
Really good to hear that, because you know, sometimes a lot of players don't hear from their coaches unless it's like competition time, and so that's good to hear. I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah, all my coaches, I tend to have a good relationship with. Roy, Calvert, you name it. The four, you name it, coming up.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
So we have a great relationship.
All right. And are you pleased with the direction that the sport has been heading, or would you like to see a lot more being done?
I'm pleased. The growth is massive. It's taking time, and we're getting there, but it's not going to happen like overnight. So with the little we have, we do work with it, and we work it to the best of our knowledge and our ability. So yeah, it's good for us.
It's now time, as you know, for my favorite part of today's interview. It's what we call rapid fire time. So I'll ask you a question. You say the first word or phrase that comes to mind. Ready?
Ready.
All right. If you were not a rugby league player, what other sport would you play?
Football.
Okay. Most memorable moment in the sport so far?
Playing against New Zealand.
Big one. One word to describe rugby.
Intense.
What's your nickname?
Pang.
Why? I have to just find out before we move on.
It was given to me by the coach from
Okay.
my high school.
All right, no problem. We'll go with that. What's the last emoji you texted before you start on this interview?
None.
So you just didn't text anybody? You texted me, but it didn't have any emoji.
No emoji.
So you're just an emotionless texter?
No, I'm an adult.
But, yeah,
No,
okay.
I'm adult, meaning I have life to deal with, not time on the phone to send emoji. I got 2 boys, so I have to be prompt and be on top of the game.
Okay, fine. I'll take that, but I'm still sending emojis. So if I text you, just know you're getting an emoji.
Sure.
Now, favorite fruit?
Mango.
Oh, yum. Famous person you'd like to meet?
Famous person I'd like to meet, Michael Jackson. Well, he's dead.
Do you have another one?
You said Bolt.
All right. Well, Bolt is here all the time, man.
I've
Easy.
never met the guy.
Okay, fine. Hopefully that can happen. Do you have a ritual before playing a match?
No.
Okay. Best part of being a Jamaican?
Yeah, where I come from.
Being a Jamaican.
Yeah. Straight.
Yeah, got it. Favorite Jamaican dish?
Favorite Jamaican dish? A whole heap.
No, come on, be
I
specific.
got a lot. I got soup. Soup for me.
Do you know soup is one of my favorites?
Soup is for me.
Especially from like when you go to the football matches and it's the people on the side of the road making the soup.
Nah, soup. I'll be dying for going home on Wednesday and Saturday. When grandma cook whatever it is in soup.
What type of soup?
Plain, red peas, all the soups in him.
Okay,
Fish.
grandma's
Yeah.
soup must always be the best. Grandma food on the whole is always the best.
Yeah, I grew up with grandma and granddad.
Okay,
They were my tutor.
all right.
Yeah.
I can't wrong you for that. Well, let's head across now to social media to see what they've been saying. So this one is from Frank saying, of course, this was posted today, November 13. He's saying Great Britain beat France 16-12 to win the first Rugby League World Cup final, which was held at Parc des Princes in Paris before a crowd of 31,000 spectators. You know, this was a long time ago, Andrew, but look at where this tweet is coming from versus what happens in the sport now. Anything you want to say?
Not much. I just want to improve on it.
Yeah.
And keep expounding on the fact that Rugby League is great and it's a growing sport and it's becoming global.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's take one more reaction from social media. So this one was posted by Rugby League Jamaica on Twitter. It was posted on November 10, short while ago, and they were supporting the women, the Reggae Warriors. And what I've noticed is that the Reggae Warriors have been doing very, very well. These ladies, they've been doing their stuff. Anything you want to say to the women?
Congratulations on the win. It was a tough challenge beating USA, but you did well.
Yeah,
and
they've
I'm
been
proud. I was there. Even when I was in the forum, I was watching them playing.
Oh, my.
So that shows you how committed I am to the program.
Good. Happy to hear that.
Yeah.
And, you know, good to also know that the ladies are getting the support from the male players. So, Andrew, you know, it has been such a pleasure chatting with you on today's show. I look forward to seeing you make that World Cup team, make the World Cup qualifiers, get into the World Cup. No pressure, but you have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, definitely. And I would like some support to continue my hard work. And it's just, the sky is the limit.
Yeah.
I've already broke the barrier of being there. I want to be there for the second time.
Yeah.
And help to propel Jamaica to be one of the pillars in Rugby League because we are strong, we are dominant. Not because we're little, but we're talawa.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, of course, viewers. I hope you enjoyed today's interview, and of course you can head across to social, comment, and let me know what you thought about today's episode of In Case You Missed It. Goodbye for now. I'll see you in the next episode.